Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Cinematic Epic. I am your host and game master, Adam. We're going to have some fun. If you are new to Cinematic Epic is a tabletop RPG where the theater of the mind and the narrative takes the center of the stage. We have a core system based around your always welcome to try. So the creative ideas can flourish, and the game is kind of designed around adapting and, articulating itself to show off these grand spectacles that the players can come up with, sometimes in a matter of 5 to 3 seconds, or the opposite, because you should count the other way. But one of the other things we do to bring about our narratives and our themes and feelings is we use tabletop audio. Tabletop audio is a great addition to any role-playing environment, from music to background noises, from taverns to, just tons and tons of different places. And it really brings that extra immersion, whether you're playing online like us or at your own table at home. Last time on Cinematic Epic, the party barely escaped the city of Vice, so we'll be picking up as they are, on this hot air balloon, leaving the city a bit tattered, a bit broken. The party not doing too great. Some more than others. Tavish looks like a little bit of a shish kebab barbecued boy. So we'll see how he fares without his suit of armor. Basically it's the tale of what's the difference between a snail and a slug. Well, one of them lost all their armor. The other thing is it's unfortunate, but Shawnee passed. He was with us, and he is no longer. He was this dramatic moment after saying goodbye to Hedera, or not Hedera, but Sequoia, and sadly afterwards met his demise live on the air. How he would have wanted. But to continue our narrative, we have to bring in our party. So let's go ahead and do that. Welcome.
Hey!
Hello.
Look, Shawnee didn't make it out, but we did.
Look, hey, that was just his legacy, baby!
They're never going to forget. For sure.
Yeah.
Sequoia will never love another.
Hey.
I kid. I'm sorry.
But to kick things off, let's introduce ourselves, starting off with none other than Lyra.
Yes, my name is Alicia. I am playing Lyra. She is from Keep Kolak. I don't know how many times I've said that, but I always forget. She's from Keep Kolak. She stands about 5'2", so she's a shorty. She is not a bard, but she does manipulate sound, using the sounds that she can create herself. She's done some pretty interesting things with the sound. We're trying to learn more things she can do with the sound. That's kind of her mission. She's trying to learn more so she can do more, so she can make it big. Yes. But, we made it out of Vice. Well, I was going to say we made it out of Vice last time, and it looks like we're going to the Hollow, maybe. No. We've met people from the Hollow, but,
We're heading off to North Hill. A little bit of a narrative note for Lyra is she's been interacting with this wayward friend, this friendship lost, and this is something that every time they've traveled, something just clicks or is brought back up from the story, and here we find ourselves traveling, and that we call obvious foreshadowing. Next up on our list to introduce ourselves, we have none other than Sequoia.
Hello. My name is Jasmine. I am playing Sequoia. She is about 4 feet tall, so she's even tinier. She is a half pixie from the Forbidden Forest. She was raised by Hedera, and after the mysterious disappearance and the destruction of the forest, she's kind of traveling around trying to figure out what happened to her mother, and trying to unravel all the secrets that seem to be tied up in Ambervale and, try to see what's going on.
Yeah, very true. And also, thank goodness these hot air balloons didn't have a little stand that was like, must be this tall to ride. I mean, otherwise, half the party would have just been left back at Vice. They would have been walking. It would have been crazy. A little bit of a narrative note here for Sequoia is the fact that she is traveling with someone that goes by the name of Hedera, and so perhaps some of these mysteries might have their curtain pulled back, and some learning might just be done. But we have one more player to introduce, and that is none other than Tavish himself.
Hello, I'm Ian. I will be playing Tavish this evening. Tavish is a Duhallan, which is a person who has lived once and now finds themselves trapped between life and death. He stands at 6 foot tall. He uses a two-handed sword, so he's a little bit more of a melee fighter, and he's exhausted. Our travels in Vice have left him scorched and burned, as it was suggested earlier. So he is enjoying the hot air balloon ride to North Hill, but is also terrified because he's never seen a hot air balloon before.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. At the end of the day, Tavish has to feel a little comfortable with this scenario. I mean, all of his armor being destroyed and melted, his body being burnt to a crisp. I mean, if I could throw it to Epsilon right now, I would. But sadly, Epsilon is not in this session with us. Well, the character will be, not his player. A little bit of a narrative note for Tavish is Tavish has been nurturing this young youth, young Master Mervis, in the ways of this martial practice and the idea of what it means to be a hero. And while the foolhardy lad has gotten himself into a bit more than he can chew sometimes, his spirit is nonetheless indomitable. Last but not least, we do have Epsilon. Epsilon is a half-dragon human. He has talons on his fingers, horns that line his head. He has some scaly elbows, and some say it's just because they're dry, and others say because it's his draconicness. Take it or leave it. He is a wielder of fire, though he has a nifty blade that he can find home against his opponents rather often. He also, a little bit of a narrative note for him, has been on the tail of Sigma, who was last seen heading to North Hill, the very town in which the party heads to right now. With all of that being said, we enter a quick little preamble. In this preamble, we're going to go over how much everyone has left. Right now, we've got a lot of our minor epic tokens were used in the last session. People were throwing those out, which is always exciting to see. So we've gone down from 2s across the board to 1s across the board, with the exception of Lyra, who is still at 2. And then as far as narrative tokens go, we went from 2 across the board to Tavish is down to 1. And then, so we're going to have some fun with this session, and let's get it kicked off with our episode title.
That and the silence that accompanied it with no music, it's kind of.
When we found out that Epsilon got ashy elbows, it's like so many discoveries today.
As the hot air balloons pull away from the city of Vice, and the party looks out into the sunset, it's noticed that Epsilon is wincing, as if staring into the sun himself, but staring north. Or the sunrise, to clarify, sorry. It's peculiar, but at the same time, the party is just beyond exhausted. They've been fighting for their very lives for hours on hours as they made it out of Vice. Tavish doesn't stand inside the balloon. Instead, he rests his bodies, though he doesn't know fatigue in the same way as the standard mortal would. His body nonetheless feels drained. Without armor around him, without his wrappings, without the things that allowed him to feel comfortable in a part of this world, he feels vulnerable, and alien, and otherwise just defenseless. Sequoia finds herself worried about Hedera. She was wounded badly, but this wound is not of anything she's seen before. It seems to fester and ooze and have this anti-arcane boil about it. And Hedera doesn't seem to be immediately recovering from it. For Lyra, as she stares off this hot air balloon, collecting her breath and kind of enjoying this piece, she didn't realize how loud Vice was, even in comparison to Ambervale, until now, drifting above the low floating clouds as the fields and the forest start to roll underfoot or under balloon. She stares out into the city of Vice as it grows further and further in the distance, staring at the dock. And Tim walks up and goes, we forgot the boat. It's a good boat. I hope that doesn't... Does that count against me? And then he starts rifling through papers to see if the party or himself was liable for this boat left in the city of Vice. But then another ship catches Lyra's eye. As the ship rolls out into the sea away from the port of the Vice, you squint. You're almost sure if it was just a person, you wouldn't be able to make it out. But no, the silhouette is smaller, and the light is clearly reflecting off of some form of scale. And it dawns on you that you're looking at none other than the small Draculan creature that approached you in the city streets during the festival.
Little baby Breakspear. Little
Oh my
baby
God. He's so cute. I'm sorry. He's like, I'm not cute. You can hear him
Ian's
now.
just like, spent like a whole year playing this guy.
A taller figure walks next to this small Draculan creature. And as you stare at this person, you just know immediately who it is. But then your arms, they feel numb, and you can't stop your fingers from tapping, from vibrating. Your heart starts to beat heavier in your chest, and your breath begins to... And let's roll a fort check. The test needed to pass is going to be a 17. 17 to pass the fort check, or the not fort check, the toughness check. I apologize.
Oh, damn, almost. Dang, what the hell? I got a 10.
As this chest pain grows, you begin to cold sweat and fall over.
Damn.
And on this note, let's go to a quick sidebar.
Already.
Dang.
Your eyes open, and a hand is reaching out to help you stand. But you're not in the hot air balloon anymore. No, you're looking at none other than Okram. As the sounds of the festival of Ambervale, the World's Fair, boom around you, he reaches down and he goes, "That could have been quite a fall. You're lucky your friend was here." As Valkyrie pushes her way through the crowd, wanting to make sure that you're okay. I tried to blunt your landing as much as I could. Are you okay?
I have no idea what happened here.
the two of them stand you up, and as you're watching this, you realize you're like, this isn't just a dream. This is a memory. This is exactly how it happened. Yet you feel autonomous at the same time chained into the very things that are happening around you. You look as the same interactions happened. You see over in the crowd, you're like, he's going to spill his tray of drinks. And he does. She's going to slip on the very mess. And she does. This child is going to cry for an autograph, but the autograph would not be happening because you found yourself into the VIP section, a section that you and Valkyrie both did not belong, but you wouldn't let just anyone know that. You were determined. You wanted to meet the thespians. You wanted to be around them. And then here was your chance. As Okram looked deep into your eyes, he goes, well, I've seen her gifts. What about yours? What could you do? How would you express your abilities to Okram?
How would I? Well, I guess what else? What does the section look like? I guess is what I'm thinking first.
It's like a kind of a bar-ish setting. Think like it's like the concert venue is like right outside of like a little, roped off area, and this is kind of meant to be where you can kind of mingle and chill in between acts, and you're meant to be able to interact with people who are either maybe in the show or work other shows, kind of thing.
Okay, he said a bar setting. Okay, because she wouldn't think to hurt anybody, but her first thing whenever she does things, I feel like it's always one where she like kind of like something, and it's. So if it's a bar, I'm thinking there's an empty glass somewhere.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's see how dazzling this little how dazzling and accurate this attack roll is.
Hopefully better. Oh no! Come on.
You do have mastery.
Already?
Would you like to use mastery?
I don't think I should.
Session.
I don't know what's going to happen. Oh my god.
What are you thinking?
You know what? Let's fuck it. Go ahead, do it.
Let's do it. We're rolling mastery.
Please be better. Okay. That's a little bit better. Do I still get a 14?
Yes, it would be a 14.
Okay.
As
That's
you do have
way
a
better than 4.
You're able to fire off this little jet of sound and perfectly shatter this glass, but not shatter it violently where it sprays everywhere. No, you hit the glass with a resonance that has it almost crumble into this fine powdery mist, not disturbing the setting around you. Okram looks over and goes, not bad at all. I like to think of myself as a procurer of wayward souls, someone who helps those who might find themselves in need of, learning and benefiting in their craft. In fact, if any gestures over to Indigo and speaks about how when I met her, she was just a detective's daughter, writhing away in some town, nothing to her name, really. And he looks over and he gestures towards Bash. In fact, the very same city is where I found Bash. This wretched place, Vice or something along the sorts. It was beneath them, though I guess the dredges and the muck and the sorrow of the world is something that helps inspire art, and so they do make good use of it. But perhaps you could be some of my next awards. Some people who could learn, who could benefit from the teaching of the thespians. Upon hearing that term, and everyone is kind of like, hey, and drinks and, you know, like, and cheers. Okram looks as if he's going to say something else, but something catches his tongue, and then he turns to Valkyrie and he begins to speak, yet the chimes that the show is going to be re-beginning start to go off, and you miss the words that he speaks to Valkyrie. And no matter how many times you've tried to, whether it's been, you know, in conscious thoughts during the day, or if you've dreamt about this moment, those words, what did he say to Valkyrie? They elude you, yet her reaction was something that burned into your retina. She genuinely smiled with a level of excitement, and there was a slight hint of nervousness as she looked over to you, and the smile crept away from her just a little bit before she kind of forced it back. The two of you then went back to your seats and enjoyed the rest of the show. And on this note, we will head back to our party. As Lyra falls over and she's like clutching her chest and catching her breath, they're tending to her medically. They let you know immediately that she's fine, that it seems to just be exhaustion. It makes sense for all of you. She feels a little dehydrated, and as they get her some water and they begin using like some light restoration magics on her, they inform you that she's still going to need a true night's rest. All of you will almost definitely need one. This is not a serious condition to worry about, which is fitting, for each one of you has something else on your mind. As Sequoia, you're tending to Hedera and making sure that she feels comfortable, that this wound doesn't increase on her. She thrashes about a little bit every once in a while. Her eyes will open and wander before she succumbs back to this slumbering restoration. It's something that soothes you to an extent, as you know your own Hedera, your own mother had done this from time to time, and in when she really needed to rest, it's almost like a flower, you know, regaining its strength. But it's always concerned you, as you always just felt so helpless standing there. As you're holding her hand, she thrashes about some more, and then she starts muttering something. No. Damn you. Damn you. And her eyes open for a second, and as if she was awake, yet you can tell this arcane vision, this arcane dream still vexes her. She speaks but one name. Damn you, Passacor. And then she fades back into her slumber. Tavish, as you're listening to this, your attention can't help but be drawn a little bit, but then your eyes are caught by young Master Mervis. This is the first time you've seen the lad since that bullet ripped through his chest. Mm-hmm. He clambers over to you, and he's like, Master Tavish, you made it.
Aye, lad. And so did you. I took you for dead.
I think it's whatever, as he like places his hand questioningly on your chest and like rubs across your sense of death and undeath. I think part of this had something to do with it. I felt as if when that bullet pierced me, as if I wanted to leave my body but couldn't. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to be alive. I truly am, and trust me, Master, next time, I'm going to be more careful. There could still be a next time, right?
We'll have to get you some armor to make certain you stay alive. But if you promise to listen, use your ears and your mind, there might be a next time.
Awesome. That's all I wanted to hear. And don't worry, next time I'm going to need a sidebar.
Oh, come on.
And next time I'm going to... And his demeanor shifts heavily. In fact, everything around you shifts a little bit. The sun feels a bit more gray. Though you know you don't feel its warmth, it seems as if it would have been gone from the world anyway. And he looks at you and he goes, "Yeah, don't worry, Tavish. Next time I'll listen." And you know, as the speech pattern changes and the eyes grow just a bit more red, you're no longer speaking to young Master Mervis, but instead... No. He wouldn't come for something like this. I'm sorry to disappoint. It's just me, Croupier. But, Tavish... Here I thought you wanted to do more for this world. You were so close to joining us again. I could feel your chains tightening. Passicor even wanted to bet the house that you were going to die. Lucky for him, he didn't. It feels your indomitable spirit did prevail.
Something that a gambler might never truly get. Sometimes you have to risk much to gain a bigger reward.
Oh, well, look, Tavish, I'm never going to have an issue with you laying down the chips. It's always fun to see you at the table. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, your record is something like 0-many.
Said as one who's never had to risk, who always stayed on the house's side. Leave him, Croupier. He has no bearing on our deal.
You don't think I've ever risked anything? Oh, Tavish, please, you're going to hurt my feelings. Don't you remember your previous Squire boy? He just wanted to adventure with you. And the face feels so distant, blocked by so much time, so much energy. Yet, he's right. At some point, you did have another squire. At some point, there was this youth yearning for your attention, yearning to be a hero, yearning for Master Tavish to show them the way. Tavish, I didn't get to my standing with Passicor because I played a passive hand. No. Oh, you have so much to learn, and so... Well, for you, maybe you have so much time, but it's about how you use it. Making cheers to less blood one minute, and spilling all of it in the next. I would say that Tavish doesn't really know who he wants to be. Identity. Oh, you mortals, you... You call me the devil! You devilish fools, your forked tongues, your wicked ways, they just creep back, don't they? But I'm not here to bluster, Tavish. Don't worry. I come with a purpose. I come with a tiding. You know, this young Master Mervis of you almost lost his life. It's almost as if someone, and he gestures to himself, maybe cheated the deck a little. Now,
What did you do?
maybe I whispered some sweet nothings into the young lad's ears. You know, youth is so excited about their accomplishments, Tavish. It'd be a shame if you went down the wrong path, wouldn't it? Now, don't worry, Tavish. I have no intention of hurting the boy. That would anger you, wouldn't it? And I don't want us to be anything but friends. So, Tavish, how about you do a little favor for me, and I forget my conversation with the boy.
Damn you, Croupier. You conniving weasel. Less than a man. I'll take your deal. But I will do no harm to this world. Not again.
Tavish, don't worry, it's not this world that I'm concerned about this time. You'll see. And he flips out a little card, and he comes over to you, and he slides it, and you feel it this card slide underneath your skin, and you feel it just below the surface. Trust me, Tavish. That's your card. And when the time's right, it'll let you know what you need to do. And again, Tavish, don't worry. No harm to this world will be done.
And the lad?
I don't even know to whom you're speaking. A deal's a deal.
Don't expect another, Croupier.
Oh, of course, Tavish. As Croupier kind of begins to turn, and while Mervis's body stays looking at you, you can tell Croupier is stepping away from where the boy is, and you can feel him looking over his shoulder, yet you don't see his actual form. And I guess, Tavish, this makes you and many plus one. And let's return to the party. And of course, I'm gonna listen more. I will. And armor sounds like a great idea. I have some ideas to expand the exosuit as well.
Good work, lad. We'll do what we can to make it happen.
And he stumbles back a little bit. I will say, I don't know how all of you do it. I'm so exhausted. I didn't even fight half as much as any of you did.
He's in there for 2 seconds, bro.
Right. It's like it's this little boy dying again.
What did you fight? He lost the battle with the ground.
It takes time, and while swinging a hammer might bring a strength and endurance of its own, it's no longer against steel you temper yourself. It's against the man, against the being that you temper right now in battle. Take some rest, lad. We all need it.
Okay. And he grabs a little blanket and kind of makes himself into a corner area where he can actually rest. As the hot air balloons continue onward, there's a feeling that begins to catch Sequoia. as this wanderlust strikes her, as if for a second she finds it very hard to focus on any one task. She's looking at the wound of Hedera, and she begins to like perform what she can, but then she goes, no, I need to make sure that everything's organized. I need, oh, what about my own bag? Do I still have all my stuff? And she finds herself this almost like she can't focus on a single task. It just slips from thought to thought, and then the next thing she knows, she's standing in the hot air balloon, staring out over the coast, over into the twilight veil. It stands just beyond the horizon, and this whirling maelstrom of arcane magics and things like that. And you know what? Let's roll a perception, and this perception will be we will need an 8 in perception to pass.
Shit. Yeah,
I can't see it. I'm small. I can't
She's
see over the
like-
top of the basket.
She's small
Okay,
and
more
legally
like
blind.
The arcane maelstroms of that area are far too much for Sequoia to stare into. And Skem steps over to her and goes,
You need a box?
that place is cursed and blessed to an extent, I guess. The arcane ebbs and flows. It is like standing atop the sea. One second you are finding yourself in bliss, day feeling good, the sun feeling warm. But the next, no. It is a riptide of a current that could break a city. That place is where I used to call home, long before I came to these lands. They say a lady wanders the sea, ever lost in her own wonder, her own splendor, never to complete an idea, but nonetheless, she brings about a natural order of things, if one can even say that about such a land. I never met such a woman, such an entity, but nonetheless, people talk. To where do you hail from? Sequoia, is it?
Yeah. I'm from the Forbidden Forest, just right outside of Amberville. It-
You were part of Hedera's clan, then.
You knew my mother?
I fought against one of her teammates in the arenas at the Ambervalian World Fair.
Do you know what happened to her? I've been trying to figure out, because she just, she left and she never came back, and then the forest was destroyed, and, I don't know.
The only thing I know is what they said in that night where the guards were massacred, but whether or not this is something that strikes me as true, I do not know. But the resemblance of the stories of the lady of my land rang true to me. I feel that perhaps they are not so different.
Another idea.
But you're tired. We will speak more at North Hill. For now, tend to this Hedera. As the journey continues on to the town of North Hill. The balloons set down, and everyone is able to kind of disembark, and a crowd of people immediately comes over. Everyone is joyously accepting the return of the Hermit's Hollow, hoping that it means good news. As they see Sequoia, admittedly being not Sequoia, as they see Hedera being carried in, she raises a hand to let them know that she is still alive, that she has been brought back. Cheers erupt. People are overjoyed to see Hedera, the Lady of the North Wind, back to their town, their humble abode. A man steps out from amongst the crowd and walks to the party. You must be the heroes from Ambervale. Word had made it back. Sorry, I should introduce myself. I am Gabriel.
No, you ain't. Gabriel?
I served Lady Hedera. I've served her from as long as I can remember. And I would have been lost had she fallen ill or fallen foul. But you have brought her back. Please, and he gestures, and some, druids and this swarm of bees comes, floating and flying in and lifts Hedera up. And as the bees, this swarm that is lifting Hedera up, looks to the party, you hear a voice say, "Thank you. I would have been lost without her." As if their humming harmony created a vocal resonance in which for you to hear as they carry their lady off.
Am I awake?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. By this point, you are awake. No, my apologies. Yes. Yes. No.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Basically, I'm just like, I needed to know. Okay. Okay.
No, you are awake at this point. I apologize.
Okay. Good.
This town does not know the most of gold and things like that. However, you know what? And he reaches into his bag. A reward is needed for such great hero work. And he pulls out these seeds, and he drops one in each one of your hands. These seeds are something that we use here to help cultivate the land and our own skill. If you ingest these, you will find yourself granted with well, what makes our little town great. Do each of you ingest?
Well, what makes your little town great?
We're known for our crafting of silks and honeys and ales. We are known for our, well, our ladies' more promiscuous ways, though I can't say that I indulge in any of that myself. And of course, our love and handling of our livestock. Please.
So what
Epsilon
aspects
goes,
of this town are they're going to be in the seed?
well, that's for you to decide, really.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Okay.
As
Epsilon
to not-
has heard enough, and
course he
Epsilon
did.
goes, sure, and takes it.
Sequoia
That's
takes it too.
Tracks. Sure, why not?
As to not be rude, Tavish will eat his as well.
Perfect. Let's get a d20 roll for each member of our party real quick.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh goodness. I got 13. Yay.
Okay, not terrible.
But sadly, we were looking
Epsilon.
for 20s. Each one of you will be able to select, and we will do this. We will do this later, but to let our viewers know what you're going to be choosing between, each one of you will be able to put a bonus point in one of the following skills: charm, animal handling, seduction, or crafting. So you'll be able to make one of those selections as a bonus. So this will just count in addition to this non-combat roll, besides anything else that you have put into them. Had you gotten a 20, just a little inside fun fact, you would have been granted 2.
Of course.
Oh.
But
Well, I already have a lot of charm already.
hey, doesn't mean you can't have more.
I know.
As Gabriel goes, and please, your stay in North Hill, that will be taken care of. I will give you the finest rooms we have, though. Well, you'll see. Some people don't exactly care for our internal decor. Our lady has a certain way she likes to live. And he takes you through the town, and the town is this adorable little like cottage core town. It's everything is quaint, everything is lively, it's close together, flowers bloom, insects are all abound, yet no one seems to be bothered by them. Despite the fact that some of the insects that walk across their hands, limbs, and torsos are venomous or poisonous and crazy deadly to the living entities of the world. Yet they seem to live in some sort of harmony with each other. As you get to a little bit of the town center, one of the things you can see a little in the distance is the fact that there is a massive rolling honey farm. Just droves and droves and droves of these wooden boxes where bees make their hives, and people are just harvesting this throughout the day.
This is my kind of place.
Gabriel asks, I'm sure she'll heal, but do any of you know about her wound? What caused her to suffer this?
She was hit with some kind of a weapon, a projectile or something that had some very strange magic in it. I tried to heal her, but I couldn't break through it.
It seems to have anti-magical properties. I look at Tavish looks at the rest of the group and I met with Ronnie on my escape, and she threatened to shoot me with a bullet of just the same make to render me immobile.
Why would she do that?
Most concerning. Is there anything else about Hedera's condition I should know?
I don't know much else about it. I mean, like I said, I tried to heal it, and most of her other wounds were fine, but I couldn't get through that one.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you heroes be to settle in, and there will be a feast tonight in your honor. So please, as he gets to an inn and gestures, this is where you can stay, and clean up, and find some refreshment. Again, don't worry about the cost. I'll take care of it all. And Tavish, I'll make sure that some appropriate garb is dropped for you. Is there anything in particular that you feel most comfortable in?
Just if you've got armor, that would be great. But it's just long clothes, as if you're preparing for a trip in winter.
I will see what we have. And he nods to the party, and he takes his leave.
Is he not freaked out by the walking, talking beef jerky?
Tavish is definitely
been
getting
naked this whole time.
He's not like he's not fully nude. He is charred to
I'm
oblivion.
not pulling a full
And,
Monty right now. Come on.
That's what I was just wondering.
and-
I was like, I don't think we were ever established what's really going on here with
Uh,
Tavish, but
It's just
Yeah, so-
Donald ducking it like Breakspear.
and for what it's worth, Gabriel seemed to not like be bothered by Tavish's appearance at all. There definitely was you could definitely feel that there was a level of like when they first saw that Hedera was okay, that everyone was like, yeah, these heroes are awesome. What am I looking at? It's clearly a hero because it brought back Hedera.
It's
But
fine.
what in the world?
Oh, what is
Like
that?
this is fine. Okay.
If we had access to any of the blankets that we had on the hot air balloon, Tavish would immediately like wrap himself in one, as if like Minnie Mouse with the pants and shoes and just like a weird like blanket wrapped around the cloak.
The walking past you, Dawn, Russ, and Skem make their way into the inn, and kind of settle in there.
So we're still standing outside?
Yes, you are still standing outside.
I was about to say. Tavish would head into as well and be like, "What room can we have access to? I'd like to go there now."
Each one of you would be brought to a different room. As you enter the rooms, the cottagecore vibe definitely fades away, and it's a lot more like silks, and like the lighting of the rooms go from like kind of a sweet and like cheerful to a far more sensual, like deep reds and like colorful purples and things like that, and it takes on something that feels almost as if it could have fit into the very clubs of Azure in the City of Ice.
But seeing the way this Hedera looks, though, this tracks, and I like it.
Yeah.
I told you I like her. I like her.
As the party settles in to get some rest, to get cleaned up and ready for whatever awaits them, we too shall take a quick break. We will be back in 5 minutes to continue our story here on Cinematic Epic.
Yeah.
And welcome back to Cinematic Epic. We've had a very loreful episode. Lots of entertaining new thoughts, some ideas. We've got some sidebars. Of course, I am your host and game master, Adam, and we're having some fun here. Learning a lot about these characters as they progressed from the City of Ice in some much needed peace and quiet. You know, they find themselves in the city of North Hill, the town of North Hill, I should say. A quaint little cottagecore town with a little bit of some sin within the bedroom, if you will. And the party finds themselves, again, catching their breath for the first time in quite some time. Let's bring them back on in so this story can continue to be told.
You're gonna sleep so well.
Oh yeah.
As each one of you, take some much needed time. Would you take this time to allow yourself to nap, or would you clean up and head back down to the dining area of this inn?
I feel like we're all so tired. You know what? I passed out. Maybe that was my nap.
I think I'd be a little too uncomfortable in this kind of like lavish room that I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go see what's going on downstairs.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm over here like Lyra would definitely have to clean herself up because, look, I feel like in these surroundings, it's kind of fabulous. You have to feel fabulous and match the vibe. So we're cleaning up because that's the way she is.
And what about you, Tavish?
Tavish would clean up, and then he would pray.
All right. To whom does Tavish pray?
Tavish is going to pray to Polly and Crow, those who bestowed upon him that prismatic armor, and a prayer of asking for their forgiveness and their continued favor in the days ahead.
Let's throw a miscellaneous D20 into the void.
Of course.
Into the void.
Oh.
Nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
Pretty good. Pretty
Give me a
good.
second. I'm gonna write that down. In fact, actually, another thing we are going to do real quick is something that we should be doing at the beginning of the session, but we will go ahead and do it now, is Tavish has a perk to store a D20 roll at the beginning of the session. So we're going to go ahead and roll that so that way we can actually use this ability. So what is the number that he has stored? He can use this in place of rolling another dice.
Any? Oh.
17. All right. So Tavish, you have a 17 stored that you can use for a roll. You must declare before rolling, not after, and it cannot be used in place of a mastery roll. So it has to be used before any roll.
So not even a roll, just like I want to use my
yeah, it's you're just taking that. Exactly.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So there's no immediate response, as there often never are with prayers, though you do feel that it isn't bouncing around into the nothingness, which is a reassuring feeling. Master Mervis is brought in shortly after you are by Skem, and he states that the lad collapsed. He barely made it in the door. I figure he is your ward, yes?
Aye. That is the best way to put it. He is my ward. Thank you, Master Skem.
And he puts him down in on one of the beds and goes and just kind of nods and leaves the room. Down in the main area of the inn, so this would be Sequoia. You are down there. Lyra, are you cleaning up and heading down there, or are you?
Yeah, we can do that. I guess. I like the room, but I guess.
As you all or as the two of you head back down, Epsilon is also down there, and he's been talking with Dawn, Russ, and Skem. Tavish, after praying, would you head down or would you stay in your room?
I would stay in my room until clothes arrive. There's a phobia of being around people when not wearing anything or not
That's
able
fair.
to disguise himself.
That's fair. The rest of you, as you're all downstairs, that like there's cheers going on, there's drinking, as Dawn and Russ are like, wait, he said he's picking up the bill, then I'm gonna have 2 of those, 1 of those, 3 of those, and they just are pointing to different things on the menu, and drinks and food are just being brought out to them, and they're just chowing down on it.
Of course.
They're ridiculous.
He's like, we're not passing up free food, guys.
Exactly.
Taking advantage of all the free food.
It's then when the door to the inn opens and a familiar face is seen. A face that you all haven't seen in quite some time, but is welcome nonetheless as you stare at Darian.
Darian.
I mean, kind of welcome.
Sure.
Wow.
Sequoia doesn't really know him all that much. She's just like, whatever.
He comes over to the table and he's like, I'm glad to see that you're all right. I trust that despite the fact that Tavish is not here at the table, he is well.
Oh, that's so. You could say that. He's alive.
If a little thirsty.
Well,
You're dry. You're dried up.
he looks over at Dawn, Russ, and Skem and goes, do you mind if I have a word with my heroes from Ambervale? And they're like, okay. And they like slide.
Taking their plates.
Just exactly.
Right?
They're stacking things up and just moving awkwardly to another table. Skem looks at them like they're idiots and just reaches under and picks like the part of the table that they're at up and just walks it away.
God.
How are you gonna take the table?
Well, the part of the table they were at. It's like conjoined tables.
Okay.
Sectional table?
Exactly.
You took the whole thing.
The morons grab the table.
In the past, I had spoke more clandestine with Epsilon here. However, I feel that that might not always be the best course of action. So I am going to be a touch more candid. I am concerned with Sigma. She hasn't been responding. I had asked Epsilon to look into it while you all were in Vice. I'm not aware if he informed you all. And before Epsilon can like speak, he kind of like holds a hand to him to like stay his reply.
I'm like, I'm not done.
And like looks at Sequoia and Lyra to see if he had told you anything.
Didn't he say something?
He said that she's kind of sketchy, something along those lines. And we had to come find her here.
He did catch up to her, but he thinks she's up to something. Something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, sketchy.
Interesting.
As a matter of fact, did we know about? We knew that she did the whole thing with Vito and the thing, right? I was there.
Yeah, you would be the one that knows that, not everyone else.
Yeah,
Well,
actually. Okay, I'm over here like actually. Apparently, she spoke to Vito in Vice, and she was part of the reason why there was the bounty on our heads to begin with. She was trying to get us out of the city.
Interesting.
But like trying to get us killed at the same time?
I'm just going to give her the benefit of the doubt and assume that she thought that we would be able to take care of ourselves enough to get out. But she was trying to get us out of the city.
Epsilon does begin to speak about how when he interacted with Sigma, she spoke of something called... she said something about the calling. I don't know what she meant, but she seemed very interested in it, as if it was going to matter and that I could play a part in it. And she really wanted me to join her in something. Darian looks a bit perplexed.
What was that thing that happened right in the end when it activated the freak? You said something. Was that important?
Oh, yeah, Epsilon begins to speak. I spoke that the eyes of elsewhere needed to look away or be distracted or something, and it like broke Shawnee's freak.
Yeah. What's the eyes of elsewhere? What is that?
Was that something that she said to you?
Yeah, she did. She really made it sound like people needed to be paying attention to something else for whatever she's planning to happen. Darian goes, "We should join Tavish in his room. I'd rather just be able to say this all once to everyone." And the party, he just kind of goes, "I assume it's upstairs," and begins walking that way. Epsilon is like,
knock.
"Oh, of course, Darian,"
Of course.
and starts trotting after him. Do Sequoia and Lyra follow?
Yeah.
We might as well see what he has to say, because obviously it's important. Well, maybe it's important. If Epsilon had a tail, it'd be like wagging behind him, like.
I know, right? He does have a tail, doesn't he?
I don't
He
think
does
so.
have a tail. He does have a tail.
Okay. It's not
And it is
prominent.
wagging. As he gets to Tavish's room, Darian doesn't knock. He just kind of like lets himself
Oh
in.
shit!
Tavish, you decent?
Tavish, we have some words to speak. I wish to speak them in front of the whole party.
Am I facing away from the door? Like, is my back to the door? Can he see my state of being at this point?
Yes, he definitely can.
Has he not
That's
seen him before?
extremely uncomfortable.
No, he has not.
Oh.
Oh, he's never seen Tavish without the armor.
Oh. Well, he clearly doesn't appear to care, though. So here we are.
So my suspicions were right. You are a Duhallan, then.
He's not surprised by shit.
Though I have to
He's like,
admit,
yeah,
it surprises
it.
me that you know it, and that you have so little care.
Well, you've never given me a reason not to trust you, Tavish, and besides, as far as knowing it is concerned, when one attunes themselves to the arcane as I do, you tend to sense certain things. The fact that you do not have a beating heart was, well, part of the puzzle.
He can feel you.
Aye. So,
In fact,
What
actually,
is
you know
it?
what? On this note, I'm going to give everyone a perception check real quick. So let's get three perception checks for our party members here.
Hopefully mine's better than it was
14 is the number
Yay.
to
14.
Yay! We all
Oh my
got
God.
16.
Oh,
you got
Oh.
19. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Look at that.
16, 19.
All of you notice this as he's saying that and he's speaking about Tavish. You've never noticed it before, but as you notice it now, it's as if though the light in the room isn't moving, besides the slight flicker of candle, every once in a while, it's as if your own shadow shifts without you moving.
I don't like that.
Mm-mm.
And that is during the part where he's saying, like, and the lack of a beating heart was part of the puzzle. Anyway,
Tavish,
what I had
you
to
don't
tell
have a heart?
was this news to
It
your
does
party.
not
I'm sorry.
Plus. No. There are many who don't understand the difference between a Duholin and the undead. I'd rather not end up being butchered over a misunderstanding.
I mean, we did know what he looked like, but we didn't ask him about
Yeah.
his body parts.
I wasn't going to ask him if his heart was beating. I mean, that seemed a little
So-
rude. A little invasive.
But you wanted to poke him.
And call me Ducky.
I don't want to
Ducky?
call you Ducky.
Ooh, I like that. Can I call you Ducky too?
Not on your life, lass.
Well, you're on your second, so I feel like it's safe. We're gonna call you Ducky.
It's more like my third.
Oh, there you go. Even better.
You done this before?
When we were in the grey, lass.
I don't know what you saw there. I was seeing my own stuff.
I wasn't there, so I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
I do believe I understand Sigma's plan now.
What's
A
she
while
doing?
ago, Epsilon had a vision of sorts. It was something I could feel resonating. It was before you all left Ambervale to Vice the second time. I believe it to be the vacuum of power needing to be filled within a group that find themselves rather intertwined. And I think Sigma is intending to claim such power. I think bringing her to Ambervale is a mistake I've made, though seldom do I make mistakes of this magnitude. I'm sure you are all aware that Angwin has some less than favorable dealings in his pursuit of security.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
I don't think I know him well enough to know.
Well,
He has done many a thing that I would not say is done with security of others in mind. Maybe his own security takes the
He's hiding
forefront of
things.
his mind.
I think he's found a way to utilize the powers of Hedera's. And I think from being inside the city of Ambervale, Sigma might have learned the same. Why else would she come to North Hill? Why else would she orchestrate something that created such peril? And now we find ourselves with a wounded Hedera, desperately clinging to a sense of true power in a weakened state. It just feels too perfectly aligned for it to be something else.
So, are you trying to say that she's trying to do the same thing that she thinks the other guy did?
I do believe so, yes.
When you say
How-
the powers of Hedera's, what do you know about the multiple Hedera's? Like, what's happening with...
Though my time in this town has been brief, I stopped by Hedera first, as I figured she might have been in danger. I promised not to reveal those secrets. She wishes to speak to you when she's recovered. She said she would be ready soon. I trust that her Gabriel will make his way here. After seeing him, I had that exact thought, Sequoia. How are there two of them? Yet they seem to have different mannerisms. They are both completely alike and not alike at all. I was not very close to your Hedera. I had only ever heard stories of the Lady of the Woods. Did she have a spirit companion?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was a bird. A crow.
So the Gabriels are more alike than their animal companion, then. The bond between that swarm of bees is tightly woven to this Hedera. It was overwhelming when, well, I reached out into the arcane. Tell me, Sequoia, when you were in Null Hex, was it in any way familiar to how you feel around this Hedera?
Yeah. It was like familiar but different. I feel like I could connect to her power, but like it wasn't like my Hedera. Like I could draw from her, but I didn't have the same kind of knowledge or access.
Interesting. Well, I will not prod at this line of thinking. I will allow Hedera to enlighten as she so sees fit. But I think all of us need to be on guard, as if Sigma's plan is to take or kill this Hedera, she could still very much be in danger.
Well, do you have any idea how Angwin his name? I don't think I met him.
Yes.
Maybe once. Do you have any idea how, well, if he actually did harness her power, and if he did, how did he do it? Would that help us try to protect her?
He killed her.
It is hazy from my understanding, but from what secrets have been told to me, Sequoia perhaps can fill in some of these blanks. My understanding is that Hedera had a heart. Yes? Something that was in her forest.
She kept it in her tree where she was born. It was the source of her power. It's what kept the forest protected and alive. When the forest fell, I knew something happened. That's why I couldn't believe all these stories that she was still in jail over there in Ambervale. She couldn't be. If she were alive, the forest wouldn't have fallen. I was there when they took the heart.
Interesting. This is but a theory. I have to imagine that these hearts are great arcane resonating chambers of a sort.
Yeah.
And Angwin's fascination with the Reaper root might be that he's looking for a way to transcend the mortal coil. But again, this is but speculation.
And do what exactly?
He is a guarded individual. Secrets do not slip easily from him. This is going to be something that we will have to keep an eye on. On that, Gabriel does walk into the room, bringing with him a ragtag suit of very worn plate mail armor, and like the best like wrappings and things like that. He explains how, I am very sorry, Tavish, but we don't really have massive winters here, and plate mail's not something that we're working on very often, but I grabbed what I could.
I appreciate your efforts greatly, Master Gabriel. This is more than enough.
If you all are ready, Hedera did ask me to bring you to her.
Yeah.
All right.
Dress.
Yes, sir. Yeah, get dressed.
No, let's go now.
We've already
Tavish.
seen you, Tavish.
You're able to adorn everything and resume the hulking knight appearance, though it is noticeably like a clunkier suit. Some of the parts are definitely from like a bunch of different suits of armor. Like there's little catches where you're like, this is not meant to be the shoulder pad here. Okay, but at the very least, you are in plate mail again.
Okay.
As you all venture out, Gabriel, like once you're a little out of the town and you're kind of in this like little pathway through the forest, if you thought there were a lot of insects before, it becomes a crazy swarm. I mean, they are everywhere, to the point where as you enter the forest, Gabriel informs you that you really need to watch your step. As they do the best they can, they skitter out of the way of your feet, but it's a sea of insects that swarm across the ground. It almost looks as the ground itself is alive. The barks of the trees are covered in ants and beetles and wasps and bees and dragonflies soar through the air. It is teeming with insect life.
Hello.
I'm gonna need them to move. I'm gonna need them to move if they love their lives.
Hi.
Tavish would be gentle with his footsteps, like slow step to give the creatures enough time to get away.
Sequoia's just talking to all of them.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
You have
but
such
can
a
you
great insect life here. It's so great.
Can you tell them to move out the way?
It's
you
as
mind
much
making a
their
little
forest
path
as
for
it
us?
is ours.
Okay, well, if they love their lives, I'm just trying to get by.
If they're not able to get out of the way, it was simply their time. That's at least how Hedera sees it.
Okay, well, you said it, not me. Let's go.
As he walks, he does ask. Was she mumbling in her rest?
Yeah. She was calling out against someone. Passacore?
Yes.
Bruh.
I do not know who this. I do not know this name, but she has spoken it before. Every time she's in a state like this, whether she's injured or tired. But
Passacore. It's a name. It's the devil of the deals.
Huh. I am unfamiliar with this. I'll have to spend some time researching it. for sure.
He's a dark-hearted bastard. He makes deals on those who seek something great, and demands too high a price for every little bit of his help.
Well, it makes sense then why she would hate such an entity, though I can't think of a time she's ever had a dealing of the sort. In fact, the only peculiar dealing I've ever seen her have was decades ago. Must have been 2, 3, maybe. There was this crone who came into the town. She was old and sickly. She was accompanied by these 2 elves. Vibrant purple eyes. They spoke to my lady about the workings of her magic, her power and fertility and life. And, well, ultimately they left, sadly disappointed. I would have sworn when the crone was leaving, her parting words were, "Goodbye, Epatadaphos," which made no sense to me. Anyway, here. And you get to this, like, more cocoon-like structure, though, Sequoia, you immediately recognize it as this Hedera's heart. This one is far more intertwined with, like, silks and honeys and things like that. Like, has been crafted and created as these insects, like, bring resources in from the forest to, like, build this, like, harmonious hive of many different species. Hedera has, like, basically just torn her right arm and shoulder off. And it seems as if she doesn't bleed. It's as if she broke apart into, like, almost a beehive, honeycombed like substance, and you watch as it, like, leaks and pulses out this goo, and, like, slowly but surely an arm is beginning to reform.
She regenerates too.
Just grow a new one. It's cool.
Yeah, she does. I've seen my Hedera do it before too. Whenever there's a part that just can't really be healed, it's kind of like dead. You got to cut it off like a plant, so that the rest of it doesn't get infected.
Is that how plants work?
Yeah.
Your Hedera was the most Western one, was she not?
Yeah. Why? How are there multiple? What does that mean?
I sadly don't have an answer for that. But what I can tell you is there were at least 3 Hederas on this continent, myself included. Now I fear there's but 2. I thought one had drifted away, but I didn't know what I was feeling until I met you, Sequoia. And she glances down kind of like into your core. You carry a great boon, but also such a heavy burden.
Can you feel her?
I feel an aspect of her. I think that might be why I feel a touch of myself echoed on you.
Me?
Has this happened before to you?
Yeah,
Where
once.
She looks very like, tell me more.
When we were in Nulhix, there was this other one. I couldn't really see her very well, but if she felt familiar, like almost like my Hedera, but she wasn't my Hedera, and she was hurting the people in the city. But I was able to tap into her magic somehow, and I don't remember much else from that.
She was fierce.
Yeah,
I think I felt that echo when the storms come, when there's
yeah,
thunder out.
yeah.
She had a herald who claimed the Amethyst Host, the owner or protector of the Golden Fleet. I don't remember all the titles, but there was a man who spoke first, as if introducing her to the city of Nulhix. He was not breaker of the Golden Fleet, Amethyst Lord, maybe Lady. I don't remember.
Sequoia, did your Hedera have a Gabriel?
Yeah. That's what another thing I wanted to ask. Like, how are there multiple Gabriels? Like, is there another me? Should like should the I exist also? Like with all the others too? But like,
This host that Tavish speaks of, did they feel the same, or at least similar, to the Gabriels?
I don't remember much from that day. There was
Let's get an arcane. We're gonna count this as arcane knowledge to see if you can remember the feeling in that moment. The number to beat is going to be a 14.
no,
No. Negative.
no.
It feels like almost a lifetime ago with how many adventures you've been on in the span of a few, a span of a month and a half, really. That the specifics of Nulhix escape you.
It seemed like so long ago. It's like I was in a trance. I don't even remember fighting or saving all those people. Just I was angry.
Did she have? Did your Hedera, and did this Hedera in Nulhix? Did they have a creature? Well, one like, and the swarm of bees like creeps over her like a gowned.
Yeah, she had a Delpo.
This
He
is
was
Nexruda. And
hi,
as she introduces it, they in unison, all the bees kind of like nod their head to like give a greeting.
hi. You feel familiar.
Hmm.
Like a vague feeling of comfort. Almost like a Delpo.
I can't speak to the exact meaning of it all, but I have a feeling that the Hederas are all connected. I from time to time feel lost, as if I'm not myself. I have this urge to just leave my forest behind. I don't have the strength to venture out too far, though. Or at least maybe not the nerves. I'm sorry?
Mine did. Mine did. That was the last time I saw her. She felt lost after Adolfo. She went to a very dark place and she tried to get him back, and that didn't work. And so she went on this journey. She went to Ambervale, and I saw her like once in between while she was out. She came home, but then I never saw her again.
I've heard tales and whispers of Hederas from other places, though it's always hard to know if someone's speaking in poetry or if they mean what they say literally. I sense in you, though, Sequoia, that this, and she kind of gestures to your core, is going to matter. This is going to be something. It's going to bring about, as she searches for the word, all of you feel like a slight vibration through the air, though you, Sequoia, feel a larger one. It like resonates through you. You're going to find yourself having to make a choice. Yes, a choice. I feel as if you and destiny teeter on the edge of a blade, ever caught in this balancing act. I have known many lovers. I've known even more who lust for me. But Sequoia, and you, as she's speaking, she's clearly looking past you now. And she's staring at her Gabriel, who's like tending to the forest and like assisting like children through the trees and like explaining things to them as they kind of giggle and frolic and play at the edge of the inner forest area. I have met very few who truly care for me. And you'll know when someone cares for you when, well, you just know that they'd move heaven and earth for you. And there's going to be a time, Sequoia, where choosing the right person to guard your heart is going to be a decision you have to make, and you have to make it right. For now... I'm sorry?
I don't understand. Shut up, boy. Shut up, boy.
For now, what I'll say is...
Great.
In my connections, in how I feel this world, I've experienced the sensation of 6 others. But
Are the Hederas?
yes. Now I feel but 5. Not including... And again, she is clearly staring at your core.
Exhibit A.
Are you saying that I've got some of Hedera?
This is all still so new to me. I dare not speak in fact, but I do know what my heart tells me. And my heart tells me you're a part to play in all of this. I think the time for the heavy conversation should come to an end. I believe there's a celebration that the townsfolk are preparing. I owe everything to you all. This wound would have prevented me from recovering had I not made it back here. Even while being here, it was difficult to get rid of. So, please, let's adjourn back to the town. It's time to lift a glass, as they would say, and break bread. While we stand within the shadow of night and still get the light of day. Come on, Nexruda. Let's go. As she stands and begins to walk back towards the town. Nexruda takes on the form of kind of a cloak over her, mostly on her right side to hide the missing arm.
The nub.
It'll grow back.
Like Piccolo.
Would you be offended if we didn't take any drinks that we didn't see poured for ourselves?
Damn.
No, I would take no offense at all.
Just because the last time we were offered drinks, we kind of had to fight our way out of ice.
That's fair.
Well, it worked out in my benefit, I guess.
Okay.
As the party heads back to the town. Back at the town, or on the way back to the town, let's have a quick sidebar with Tavish.
Oh.
You feel at first just this like buzzing loud in your ear, and you realize that some of the bees from Nixruda have climbed their way into your helmet. And at first it's just the buzzing sound of insects, but it then becomes a voice. It becomes Hedera's voice. I can tell by the way that you shifted around my Gabriel that the name I speak means something to you. What do you know of this Passacor?
I made a deal. I made a deal with Passacor long ago. The details of said deal have been lost to me, and it's what prevents me from resting. I have done something. I did something to this world that I cannot forgive myself for. And so I find no peace and none in death. And I have died twice now, and still I linger. He is a devil of deals, willing to make bargains for every last scrap that you're willing to sell to try to protect or do something more. He's always there waiting for the next deal. Or his underling, croupier. Now take advantage of every moment that they can.
So, that is the heaviness that is bound to you. I assumed it was your predicament. And she kind of, like, you feel the fact that she's speaking of your, like, your state of pseudo-undeath.
Mm-hmm.
You are bound to this Passacor in a way.
Yes. I seem to be. But I wish to find a way so I may rest. To be bound to him no more.
I can only imagine the torment it would be. I have my own memories that feel grayed or stolen from me. I remember it felt like the world crying around me, as if a storm would never yield. This tumultuous rage over this moment, and I from time to time find myself cursing the name Passacor, yet I know no such creature, no such devil of deals. But nonetheless I find myself angered, as if they are my feelings, but devoid of how or why.
Echoes of a memory that linger and live. I know them well, for they do strike me at all times.
We will perhaps need to have words again, Tavish. But for now, I must think on this name. I must know this creature more. And you feel the bees beginning to crawl, like, out of your helmet. And let's rejoin our party. As the party makes it back to the city, or the town of North Hill, like proper, people, merriment's kind of already begin to pop off in their town. There's drinks being spilled and chugged. There's music playing. It's a joyous little affair. It's well lit. It's warm. It's cozy. It's unlike anything that you've ever experienced within the walls of Keep Kolak, Ambervale, or Vice. It just feels peaceful. As you walk into the town, immediately people are coming up to you like, "Oh, hero! You brought our Lady Hedera back. We're so happy. Thank you very much. I have to say, if you ever need something, please just ask me. I am no hero myself, but, you could take the shirts out of my shop."
Oh, I was gonna say, what does he do? He's just a random stranger. Okay.
As they go on throughout the night, they heavily encourage each one of the members to tell a story of their heroism and captivate the audience. So, what stories would each one of you tell to this crowd of people anticipating a tale of glory?
Holy crap. Dang, this is Tavish's moment. Mm-hmm. I told you not to monologue me, but you know what? You might have to monologue me.
The
This is actually where I would like to use the skill
Ooh.
Inspire.
okay.
And I will use the 17 that I had from before at +3 to tell them the rousing tale of the final moments of our escape.
Of course.
All right. So let's see. We're using our Inspire, and let's see here. Our Inspire for Tavish is 3. The number to impress the number to keep the crowd's attention is 10. The number to truly wow the crowd is 16. Anything
Is it
higher than
okay?
16 will
There you
just
go.
add a bonus. What's up?
Look at that.
I am going to use the stored roll of 17
Yeah.
from earlier to just guarantee the
Dazzler. All of them.
the dazzling
Right.
tale.
Everyone is impressed and enraptured.
Well then, Tavish, the floor is yours. How do you tell this tale
Crap,
of
I was hoping I could hide behind that 17, but here there's nothing, I guess.
You're making me actually
Oh.
count.
Look, you're gonna wow them no matter what, though. That's the thing. They're gonna be
You see,
amazed.
You say that, but I feel like now I've got to bring my A game.
You already
Do
have.
it.
As we had dealt with the denizens of the city of Vice, as we had tried to find a way to peacefully make our way through the city, we found ourselves trapped in a corner of the home of a very dear friend, Sean E., as he promised to whisk us all out of the city with his strange horseless carriage that they had in the city.
Oh.
And as we had gathered, we found that we were not the first to arrive, as, thankfully, Xander of the Hermit's Hollow,
Hey!
and Hedera,
Where is
and Skem, Dawn, and Russ
Yeah.
had found their way there, and were trying to find our own way out of the city. We were able to load ourselves up into it, and as we drove through the city streets, having to take different routes, some routes being through highly densely populated areas, and others through making certain, doing our best to keep all the poor citizens who were not expecting a violence to erupt on their streets, as Ronnie's villainous gang members of enforcers chased us through the city with no regard for the lives of their fellow Vicenauts.
Ah, boo.
We found ourselves able to drive our horseless carriage onto their moving tram, which is like another form of horseless carriage, but only on a set path.
Huh?
Strange, I know, but I had never... None such strange machinations were beyond my own eyes and knowledge. As we were leaving, we found that the tram that we were on was continually speeding up. As each passing moment it got dangerously faster and faster, we found ourselves trying to siphon off the energy of the cart. Epsilon taking the brunt of it as he tried to shed it between himself, Sequoia, Lyra, and Hedera a little bit, as it was proving to not work. We ended up having to make a dangerous decision of crashing the entire tram, unfortunately costing the lives of a few brave citizens as they could not quite get out.
Oh no.
And in the final moments of the crash, we had found ourselves battered, and some limbs broken.
Oh.
That's when I knew I had to stay behind. I had to make certain the rest got out. With not much time to coordinate with the others, I borrowed a blade from Sequoia and rushed out to meet the enemy head on. Epsilon, wanting to make certain that I was not alone, attempted to go as well. And thankfully he did. For without his help, I'm not certain I could do it all by myself. But what I did, buying the rest of the group time to flee, as these weird projectiles, limbless crossbows that shot arrows at fast speed seemed to puncture and dent my armor. As I tried to make certain I bought everybody else enough time. Until, despite as much as I desired not to, more blood from my hands filled the streets.
They
And
deserved
then an
it.
explosion. And then an explosion happened as the
God.
horseless chariot crashed into the wreckage of our tram,
Those don't
causing
seem
an
safe.
explosion. It was not. Barely limping out of the city, I stumbled upon the friendly faces and the unfriendly face. The friendly faces of Skem, Russ,
Hey!
and Dawn, and the unfriendly face of Ronnie, one of the 4 leaders of Vice.
Oh.
Though surprisingly enough, she showed mercy that night.
What?
My life could have easily been taken by her hands, but she said, I talked the talk and walked the walk, as few heroes had, and because I had somehow earned the respect of Dawn and Russ, maybe even Skem, that I would be
He
allowed
raised his
passage out of the city. And that is how we escaped, by the skin of our teeth and a lot of luck.
Woo! Yeah! As they erupt into cheers and applause over it. Other stories get told from the points of view of like Dawn and Russ. Though there is not such epic deeds, theirs involved far more shenanigans and tomfoolery to get about from the position they were in. They lament the fact. Many times does Dawn bring up the fact that the bananas had to be left in Vice; they could not be retrieved, and Russ has to keep informing him that no one, in fact, cares about the bananas. Move on with the story. But they bicker amongst themselves about the bananas and about how they did matter. Those were expensive bananas. And Russ rolls his eyes, knowing that Dawn didn't pay for those bananas. He definitely paid for those bananas.
Oh gosh. Damn bananas.
As the night continues on, foods, wines, beers, drinks, etc., flow in great quantity. And Darian, even in fact, does join in the merriment. He tells the story of the Grey. He speaks about how this party, though Lyra not included, once ventured into the very jaws of death itself, just for the bonds of fellowship, just for the bonds of family. These are the types of heroes that move everything that they can to do what's right, whenever possible. And during all of this, though, the camaraderie and the fellowship and the fun, I need a sidebar with just our wonderful viewers, as this is a sidebar that involves Epsilon.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
as Epsilon enjoys the merrymaking, telling his own stories as well, of his draconic fire and his voice booming from the cab to make sure that the civilians of Vice could stay away from the harm. As he enjoys a drink that he carefully watches to make sure is poured, and he inspects the drink thoroughly as he's learned his lesson of just getting caught up in the moment. A woman comes over to him, and she begins to speak. I knew you would make it out of Vice. You did such a great job. Epsilon, perplexed at this woman, like, thank you, he says, assuming she just means because of the story she's heard. And then the person goes, I knew you would say it. The eyes of elsewhere. I have to pat myself on the back. And Epsilon looks inquisitive and she goes, wait. Remembering that he watched Sigma transform. He watched her shapeshift while they were in Vice. He speaks to her. Sigma? The woman replies, No. I would not be so bold to be here anymore. Epsilon, that would be boring. That would be too easy. But I trust that you're still in on all of this. Darian is such a fool. He thinks that this plan ends here with some druidic woman. No. The plan, our calling, Epsilon, it's far, far bigger than just some lady of the woods. Leave that to smaller-minded people. Leave that to people like Anguin. Epsilon, perplexed by this, he tries to look around to see if he can't see or find Darian in the crowd, but the woman demands his attention. Are you still not fully on board? Are you still thinking of siding with Darian? Epsilon, don't you see? He's just manipulating you. He just wants you to be his puppet. I'm sure he's told you that I'm desperately in want of power, trying to seize something. He's probably misinterpreted this whole calling thing anyway. If anyone wants power, Epsilon, it's him. Haven't you seen the way he acts? He has to know everything. He has to be the one with the secrets. I'm sure he hasn't told you everything that he's experienced, but he expects you to tell him everything, all of yours. I just don't think that that's the right mentality between partners, between friends. So I really, really do hope you come to your senses, Epsilon. I mean, you're going to have a big, big choice coming up soon. And I hope you make the right one. I really do. And the woman's face goes blank for a second before going, What? What was I talking about? Why am I... What? And she's confused as if totally unaware of the situation she was just in. Epsilon stands there, stunned. Trying to process this information, everything that he's just seen, and he begins to look around the party for Sigma, for Darian. But as he sees him, as he begins to go over to him, the dinner bell rings, and everyone is forced to their seats. Darian is not assigned a seat close enough to Epsilon for him to speak. Epsilon will have to sit through this dinner, anxiously awaiting the opportunity to speak to Darian. And let's return to our party. A short minute before the dinner bell rings and everyone goes back to their tables, to their assigned seats for the main feast of this whole ordeal, each one of you feels a very similar tremor, a very similar vibration through the air. It's similar to the one that you felt while you were with Hedera near her heart not an hour ago. But there's no time to investigate this feeling as you each take your seats, and Hedera begins to speak about the joy of this town. And she speaks about how I know many of you very well. I know all of your families intimately.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
This town and what we've accomplished with such few resources, well, it's the achievement of my life for sure. This bond that all of us share is something that I will always treasure. But I must admit my heart is heavy. Though I do not know how I know. One of the most important people has been taken from me. I can tell that my Lady Azure is
I knew it.
no longer with us. And I know she was one of few people that I could truly trust within this world. And her loss will be heavily felt. And she raises a glass and she goes, well, it's better to have loved than to not loved at all. Huh. And she looks perplexed as she stares towards the middle of the town. And everyone kind of starts looking over, and there's murmured gasps. What? Oh, what does that mean? What? As the party looks over, you watch as this small plant begins to bloom. These long, thin petals. They're a bright amber in color. This amber spider lily begins to blossom in the town square. And everyone looks a touch nervous. Hedera stares for a second and goes, so it's finally bloomed. Our corpse flower. Does it bloom for the past? Or does it bloom for the future? As if mocking the tone, the ground rumbles. And in the distance, there's a pop. Everyone looks concerned. No one's completely sure what's going on. But then there's another. The sound clearly from the north as everyone looks to this northern way to see the sky changing colors as an explosion deep off the coast. It's just then that horns begin to sound. As the party looks up, there are hot air balloons from the Hermit's Hollow. And leaping down from one of them, landing on one foot, one knee, fist into the ground, arm wide. He stands up and he looks to the Hermit's Hollow teams. Teams, get ready. Get your vessels ready to deploy and get skyborne. Oh, you must be the heroes from Ambervale. Good. I'm going to need people like you. Welcome to my team. I'm Jin.
Of course you are.
Oh my god, no!
Of course you are.
It even looks like James.
He did before.
The prison off the coast is under attack. And I'm going to need your help. Please, this way. Darian begins to follow as well, but he's nervous. He's pale. He looks concerned beyond belief. You've never seen Darian so shaken, so perturbed. As he gets next to the party before you leave, he's like, I have to go. I have to go with you all. Just then, a portal opens up, and none other than Anguin steps through. Jin gives a nod to Anguin. I'm afraid that you're going to have to stay here, Master Darian, with Anguin. We're going to need someone to be able to put these magical barriers up so that way no one can escape the island. Darian is struck. He knows that it's the right call, but something is compelling him to want to disobey. Something is compelling him to want to act. He shakedly reaches into his robe and hands Epsilon a scroll. They share a few words, but even the peering ears of Lyra can't manage to pierce these secrets.
Boo.
He stares back into this amber sky, this explosion happening. His arms go slack. So, Sigma, what have you gotten yourself into? So this is the end game. And on that note,
I knew it.
we are going to wrap our session up there. The next time you see us, we will be doing the Epsilon special.
Ooh.
Okay.
It is very jam-packed. Many ideas have gone into making sure that it is truly a spectacle, and it lives up to every moment that we got out of our Orlina special. So we're really excited to tell that story. We are working out our next upcoming episode. We have a few schedule things to work out, so we will make sure that gets posted up as soon as we know when the next time we're going to go live is. For now, thank you so much for watching, whether you were watching after we have already posted or if you were watching live tonight. It's always a blast to tell the story with you and to tell the story with these fine people. They're that side. There they are. And until the next time we tell our tales. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh my goodness.
Look at
Hey,
Epsilon.
we even got a nice picture of Epsilon.
Aww, cute.
Oh,
Over that way.
that's